One day I was taking a walk in the hills above my home. I'd been doing a lot of reading about the great mystics and spiritual teachers of the past in relationship to a positive future for humanity, but I couldn't quite bring all of my thoughts together. Frustrated, I suddenly stopped and posed a question to the universe. What is humanity's new story? The universe responded. I had an expanded reality experience. I pierced the blue cocoon of Earth as our astronauts had done and found myself floating weightlessly in space. I had become a universal being, capable of seeing and comprehending humanity's role within the entire cosmic story. In a flash, I was catapulted into the future, and I could see a few frames ahead in the movie of creation. I was aware of myself as a member of planet Earth. I saw that we were running out of energy and gasping for breath. I could feel the pain running through the whole planetary body. This shared feeling of pain opened our hearts. Love poured through our nervous systems. We experienced mass resonance, a higher harmonic of consciousness. The airs cleared, the waters became pristine again. As the mass resonance increased, the systems of our social body seemed to join together as never before. I felt every basic social system shift simultaneously as innovations and breakthroughs connected. Systems of health and education, economics and environment began to coalesce seamlessly by the same powers that orchestrated the creation of the universe. We were being coordinated. Then I heard the words, "Our story is the birth of a new humanity. We are all members of one living planetary body, the offspring of a greater cosmic intelligence, predestined to explore the further reaches of our infinite universe."
If you had the opportunity right here, right now, to take a leap into a higher consciousness, would you take it? What would that look like? It would be present, fully present in every moment. It would have no doubt of union with the divine, understanding your divine identity and power. It would have a heart of such loving kindness to all people, all beings. It would be both humble and powerful. If you had an opportunity right now to take that leap, to embody that more than ever, would you take it? Yes. Well, given that I'm at a Unity church, it's got to be that answer. Asking that question is like asking an Eskimo if it likes snow. Or considering the weather that you had to bear through to come today, maybe I should say, it's like asking a surfer if they like the feeling of the warm sun on their body. Hard to imagine right now, right? Well, today you came, and this opportunity is actually going to be here for you today. Barbara Marx Hubbard, how many know her? She, by the way, they sent videos of her. This was a trailer to her video, and the full video is available. They sent it on DVD, and it's available for sale in the back. But Barbara Marx Hubbard, Terry said, she's a world treasure. And she is the midwife of the new consciousness whose potential to come in. Well, she asked the universe for a vision of the new story of humanity. I also asked the universe a question, but because I'm impatient, I don't want to see the picture of it. I want to know how to do it now. So I'm going to share with you today what you're going to hear is how the universe responded in its own inimitable way, and how it guided me and therefore all of you of how you can embody presence and emit loving kindness no matter what your circumstances. So I learned about you. Some of you I know. And as in general, I learned about you from Susan Armstrong. And she told me that this is a very high consciousness church. But she also shared that you're deep thinkers that have a hunger to continually learn and grow. And so I want to share with you that at this time, it's a time where that energy will be appreciated by the universe. So she also said that you're a hugging community, that you like to hug a lot. And it's a time where the universe is hugging us as well. So in 2012, some astrologers said that it was the dawning of the age of light. Have you noticed a shift? Like it just seems like there's more light in the world, and that people around you are shifting, or you might hear people talking more about consciousness. Do you see it on the internet? Do you see it with your spouse? Are you noticing that? I don't know if you are, but I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm shocked by it. It's amazing how fast things are changing. Well, there's an astrologer, a renowned astrologer named Joan Elizabeth, who predicts that in 2014, there's going to be more light emitted from the universe to support this transition into a higher consciousness. And what she says is that for every energy we put forth to grow ourselves, the universe will give double energy back. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So I wanted to know, how can we grow to be the consciousness now, not just observe and be on the precipice? And Ken Wilber said that evolution is a wildly self-transcending process, and that it has this amazing, utterly amazing capacity to go far beyond what went before. And so I want to go far beyond what went before. So the question that I asked the universe was this: if we could understand the mind of today, what I'm going to call the 21st century mind, and how it works, and compare it to the evolved mind of tomorrow, I'm going to call it the 22nd century mind. If we could look at those two minds of consciousness and understand the difference, would we create what Charles Fillmore calls spiritual quickening and be able to embody that consciousness now? So the question kept noodling at me, and I decided to write a talk around it, and I started to think about it. Okay, well, if I want to think about this, then I would say the first place to start is to define what is the mind today. This I know. So what is the mind? What is the function of the mind? What does our consciousness of mind do today? So I invite you to think about that. What does our mind do? And if you would popcorn out some answers, if you feel comfortable doing so, what does the mind do?
Think about it.
You can think about it. That's right. The mind thinks. What else? What does the mind do?
Receives.
It
Receives.
What does that mean, it receives?
In various ways, actually. It receives information from the senses, but it also receives information directly as well.
So it receives information for which we can compute and then do something with.
And it receives ideas.
And it receives ideas. So it's an idea generator. Idea receiver. Anyone else?
Perceives.
Perceives, what does that mean?
It takes the body of information within it and projects things that are going to happen in the future.
That's right, and it projects what's going to happen in the future. So I actually started working on this talk when I was in an airplane. And I was sitting there thinking about it, and two ideas came to me. One was the mind is a creator. It's creation. And so it thinks, and in creation, it does receive ideas, definitely as a receiver, but it's also a generator of ideas and envisions the future. So there's a lot of creation. The other thing that came to me is that it's in reaction. It reacts. And I think that comes from being human, the fight or flight part of us in our previous evolutionary state. So it creates and reacts. So I was on the airplane and I came up with a theory. The mind of the 21st century creates and reacts, and that's it. And I wanted to validate the theory. So I couldn't use the internet because I was on an airplane. So I decided to use, I'm going to just share this with you, I decided to use a very technical, resourceful research tool that was available to me right then. I asked the couple sitting next to me in the airplane. Hi, I'm Reverend Susanna. I'd like to introduce myself, and I'm also working on a church talk on Sunday, and I'm hoping it'll be all right with you for me to ask your opinion. Well, this was Linda and Gary. They come about 2 hours south of Cleveland. They're a middle-aged couple, very, very nice, and they're church people. So when they heard that, they got all excited and said, absolutely. So I shared with them the idea of the 21st century mind being one that is in creation or reaction, and I wanted to get their opinion. And so Gary piped up immediately, data. The brain holds data. And Linda said, oh, and he would know that because he's a Trivial Pursuit maniac. He has so much stuff in his mind, I don't know where he keeps it all. I was like, data, that's great. Well, the two wanted to know more about the talk, so I told them what we just shared right now about the 21st century mind and the 22nd century mind and lifting into a higher consciousness. And Gary piped up and said, we don't need to know anything about a 22nd century mind. Excuse me? We don't need to learn anything about a 22nd century mind. Well, why not? All we need to know, we need to learn from a first century mind. Excuse me? Look, all we need to know, we need to learn from Jesus, and that's the first century mind. Oh. So in that moment, I realized that the three of us came from different spiritual perspectives. And I thought, I just have to find our common ground here, and we could continue the conversation because I'd be curious what they think of it. So I said, oh, you're right. You're right. There's so much to what you're saying. I agree with it completely. And, well, Gary, what if Jesus were to come right here with us today and take a look at the state of the world and how we react personally with one another and how we react globally? What would he tell us about how we could shift our consciousness so that we become universally harmonious? Look, all we need to know is in the Bible. If we study the Bible, that's all we need. And with that, the conversation was over. So I turned and faced front in my seat, and I couldn't help but notice that both Linda and Gary were sitting as far away from me as possible. But it worked out because it was to my good, because I needed information from them, and I found out the mind not only is in creation or reaction, but it's also a container for data. So that worked for the figuring of my talk. So the next step was to get an example of the reactive mind. Find something that would show what it would be like to be a mind in reaction. So I sat there and I was really trying hard. Where can I find an example of the reactive mind? And I just couldn't think of a thing. But in the meantime, my blood is boiling. I can't keep focused because I keep thinking about these two, what happened in that conversation. And I just find a fidgety in my seat because I want to figure out where is the reactive mind. There's got to be something that's happened to me recently. I swear to God, I think it went on for 10 minutes. And then eventually I went, oh, duh, it's right here. And I got excited because, well, if it's right here, then there's a potential for me to look at an experiment with the 22nd century mind and see if my ideas work. So, let's first take a look at the reactionary mind. I don't know if anyone here has a reactionary mind. Just a little bit, like think of the last 24 hours. Any sideways glances? Anybody say one word that... It could be good. Somebody could have, gave you a big hug. I got a lot of hugs this morning, and it felt really good, and I thank you for them. And I'll take more, and I'll give more, too. I want to show you this. This is something that my dear friend, the artist, Cleveland artist, Dan Rothenfeld made for me. I asked him to make a representation of the reactionary mind, and this is what he made. At first, when I saw it, I was a little like, God, that's not what I would have wanted. I was seeing something muddy and dark. But as I looked at it, I realized, his representation is very vibrant. And quite frankly, our reactionary mind is very attractive. It's hard to let go of. So I think he did a really good job. Okay. So we got the 21st century mind. We got that it's reactive. Boy, do we got that it's reactive. So what's the 22nd century mind? Well, I came up with an idea, and I'll just show you. So I was sitting in my seat. They were far away over there, even though they were right next to me. And what I did is I became present with what was going on, and then I just cleared it as best I could. Just cleared it. And then I sent them love with my thoughts. And I sent them love with my feelings. And I sent them love with every cell of my body as if my life depended on it. And I kept sending them love and blessings. And you know what happened? My mind said, this is never going to work. They weren't very nice to you anyway. Forget it. I mean, why are you even bothering? But I dug deeper. And I sent them love with my mind. I felt the vibration, and I sent them love with my feelings. I sent them love with every cell of my body, as if my life depended on it. And I just kept sending them the love and the blessings and the love of the blessings as I sat there. So do you think I could have opened up a conversation with them and created a harmonious feeling between us? Maybe you could have. I didn't feel like they were open to hearing anything from me anymore. But Linda asked me a question. Susanna, did you go to school for this? Yes, Linda, I went to seminary. I'm an ordained interfaith minister. Then she asked a few more questions till she got to the bomb. Susanna, have you accepted Jesus Christ into your heart as your Lord and Savior? this is when I realized I needed to send Linda a lot of love. I did, because we come from very different places spiritually. And so I said, Linda, I really honor and respect where your religious path. I really do. But I serve all people, I respect all paths, and I honor the one living God. Do you follow the commandments? Yeah, I do. And then she asked like all these pointed questions that would force me sort of to see things from her perspective. You know how those questions go? And so I just said, I really do respect where you're coming from completely. But I align with God every day. And up until now, God has not asked me to do as you do in this manner. And so the conversation continued, and I swear I have no idea how it happened, but an affection grew between us. And I think it's because even though we didn't see specifics from eye to eye, underneath we shared something much deeper together. So eventually the conversation shifted from what we were talking about to family and kids, and eventually she said that she was going to have a brand new grandbaby, her first. So this idea came to my mind, and I didn't push it away. Linda, would you like me to pray with you about your new grandbaby? Oh, yes, I'd love that. So I took her hands, and we faced each other, and we went into a deep prayer in the manner of which she is accustomed. And we were praying and praying, and just blurted out of my mouth, he's going to be a wonderful baby. I don't know where that came from. I think it's going to be a boy too. And that just bonded us. From that moment on, we felt so connected. We were just two girls as one. It was wonderful. Really wonderful. So the reactionary mind is something that grabs hold of us and we stay in it. But when we dig deeper into that presence of a mind that sees beyond what's right in front, all possibility happens. So for instance, if we were to look at this is our reactionary mind. But when we go beneath it, all things are possible. What's happened for me recently, perhaps it's happening for you too, is beyond the concept of all things are possible. There's a sense that in this, and this, and this, there is a union with the divine. You are the divine. It's without you, but the potential of creation is fully within you. Right? So I was there at the airplane, having a wonderful time with Linda, but there was still one problem. What was that? And I'm telling you, if you think he wanted to have one thing to do with me, he could care less what was going on with me and his wife. That made him even more. Oh, his energy was bad. So as I'm talking to Linda, I'm thinking, I just got a little more chance to see if this 22nd century mind thing really works. And so I cleared myself of reactivity, and please let me tell you, it was big. He was the one that stopped me from talking in the first place. I did not really care to unite with him. Where's the love? That's what I had to ask myself. So I cleared that and found some love. in knowing that I am God creator, filled with love and forgiveness and mercy. And so I cleared the reactivity. And I sent him blessings with my thoughts. And I sent him blessings with my heart. And I sent him blessings with every cell of my body as if my life depended on it. And when more thoughts of reactivity came up, I dug deeper. And I kept sending the love and the blessings and the love and the blessings. And I gave thanks that the highest good of divine love would occur. Well, the plane taxied in on the runway, the bell went ding, everybody got up to collect their things, Gary got up to collect his things, and then a thought came to me, and I went with it. Gary? Yes, Susanna. Do you know what the 22nd century mind is all about? No, Susanna, I don't know what the 22nd century mind is all about. Gary, it's about praying without ceasing. That's from the Bible. And that was speaking into his listening. So a smile came upon Gary's face, and it was like all reaction completely melted away from him. And he looked at me, and Linda looked at me and said, Susanna, it was a pleasure meeting you. And Gary said, Susanna, it was a pure pleasure meeting you. And I said, Linda and Gary, it was my pleasure meeting you. And they grabbed their things and they walked up the aisle. And that was the last I saw of them. What can you do today to take a leap into a new consciousness? What can you do today as a church to take a leap and bring in this new consciousness for the planet, midwife it? We could stay in our reactive mind, or when we become aware that we're reactive, we could step into our God divinity and know the love and let the love come through. So I invite you to pick something. Is there something in your life that got you in that reactive state? Take it in right now and notice what it does to your body as you're in that state. And notice what it does to your mind when you're thinking about it. And now let's go through the process. If you would, clear it. Clear it as best you can. Whatever intention you give to clear is good. And then send it love. Send it love with your thoughts. Divine Mind has brought us all together today, and this situation, this person, the outcome will be glorious, beyond my imagination. Blessings, blessings, blessings are with it. And now bless it with your heart. Let that radiant vibration of your heart flow through it. Bless it with every cell of your body, as if your life depended on it, because your life does depend on it. Waves of blessing, waves of love. And now give thanks for the highest good. And come back to the room. And notice how your body feels now. And what if you were to stay in that? Every time that thought comes up, you were to stay in that, giving it loving thoughts as you're with it. How would that affect your world? Well, Gary had said, the words that got to Gary were about praying without ceasing. And those words for the Bible still hold true today. For if we take this loving energy, see that no one repays another with evil or reaction, but always seek after that which is good for all people, rejoice always, pray without ceasing. Would that bring us to our leap of consciousness? As you look at this canvas, this is your mind. Your thoughts, your words, they're like paintbrushes on the canvas of your mind that will create your world. Use loving thoughts. Emit loving feelings. Do it with every cell of your body. And my guess is you'll paint your world beautiful. And you'll be midwives of the new consciousness. And for that, I say thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.